Happy Saturday. Many thanks for joining the program. My name is Gloria Mutisi. Now, news coming to us this evening is that a volcanic mountain in the neighboring DRC is currently erupting. Mount Nyiragongo volcano burst into activity on Saturday, spewing red fumes into the night sky. Joining us on telephone is Jean-Claude Ngaruye, a geologist and mining exploration division manager at the Rwanda Mines and Petroleum and Gas Board, to expound more on this matter. Good evening, Jean-Claude.
Good evening. Good evening, Gloria.
Thank you for joining us. First of all, have you gathered any new information about what's currently happening in the DRC now from your colleagues over there?
Yes, a little bit. I'm in contact with the volcanic observatory in Goma, which is following day to day the volcanic activity and the seismic activity in the area. But up to now, I don't have much details on the event. The only thing I heard is that there is eruption on the side of Kibumba, where the lava is flowing towards Rwanda.
There's also a bit of uncertainty about which volcano it is that is erupting. Can you at the moment clarify if it's the Nyiragongo or Nyamuragira?
Apparently, based on the information I have, it's Nyiragongo, which is nearby the road from Goma to Ruchuru.
Okay. Were there signs of the volcano erupting in the past?
The last eruption, you mean?
Can you hear me?
Yes, a little bit. Are you talking about the last eruption of Nyiragongo?
No. Prior to this current eruption, were there any signs, were there any studies that were being currently made, or were there telltale signs that this could possibly happen?
Yeah, yes, of course, because we have on the side of Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board, we have a series of seismometer network that is monitoring the seismic activity and eventually the volcanic activity. And we have some other colleagues who are working on daily basis on Lake Kivu, just to monitor either the volcanic hazard and the seismic hazard along Lake Kivu. But also we are in connection with our colleagues from the other side, from DRC. Just we are working jointly because we share those volcanoes. So we are currently working hand in hand to see, to monitor, and to in the right time to tell our people to escape from those hazards.
Absolutely. And for a geologist, as a geologist or an expert on such matters, for an active volcano like that, how wide can the lava spew and how much damage can it cause?
Yeah, it depends. It depends because it will depend on the density of the lava. It will depend on the volume. It will depend also on the viscosity of the lava. As an example, if the lava is, if the viscosity is very low, it means that the lava will go far. But when the viscosity is very high, I think it will not go far, and there will not be much impact on the region.
I see. The last time this volcano erupted was in 2002 and killing hundreds of people. Maybe just to shed a bit of light about what causes volcano eruptions and what determines if a volcano is still active or not.
Normally, in terms of geological times, volcano is never is always active. But some of the volcanoes are erupting. Let's say 100 years. After 100 years, others can go up to 100 million years. So we cannot say the volcanoes are inactive.
Well, Jean-Claude Ngaruye, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for sparing a moment of your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Rwandan Television.
Thank you. Well, in other news that we prepared for you today, the Rwanda Biomedical Center has said that there's no immediate plan to suspend face masks due to their role in fighting the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. And Rwanda has so far vaccinated far too few people for such a move. Ghislaine Mugwaneza has more.
People that already got vaccinated have said that they never stopped respecting measures in place to fight the spread of COVID-19 while wearing properly their face masks. I can't stop wearing face mask because being vaccinated does not mean that I cannot get infected. I keep on respecting measures in place like others. I take it off when I am at home. But when I am going to mass gatherings, I wear it because I meet many people that I don't know if they are infected or not.
The reason as to why I value face mask is because of how I listen to the radio announcing the infected people. Sometimes they even mention the death. You understand that a person has to be careful.
Those that haven't got vaccinated yet also know the value of wearing face masks.
The virus does not choose and it has no friend. That is why everyone should encourage his or her fellow to wear properly the face mask. If the officials have seen its role, we should wear it. The purpose is to protect lives.
RBC officials have mentioned that face masks contribute a lot in fighting COVID-19. 5% of the local residents have already got vaccinated, and the goal is to reach 60% by 2022. This means that there is no plan of suspending face masks due to the low number of vaccinated residents.
We cannot suspend face masks. Even though a person has already got a vaccine, getting it does not mean that you cannot get infected. You might not get seriously sick, but you can infect others and they could die. If you tell people that those who got vaccinated should stop putting on masks, you would find the whole city without face masks. If you ask them COVID-19 vaccine certificate, they will show it to you while they haven't got vaccinated, because there are people that like to deal with the officials. Another thing is that the vaccine cannot protect you 100%.
The director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Africa, Dr. John N. Kengasong, has urged African countries to be more vigilant before suspending face masks.
As I said earlier, very few people have been vaccinated in Africa. Less than 1.5% of our population have been vaccinated. So it's very unlikely that the Africa CDC will be issuing similar guidelines. But we should be very careful in Africa not to just import recommendations that we see in other countries whose context is very different. Yeah. The level of vaccination is so limited that it is very difficult for you who has been vaccinated to say that you are the only one moving around without a mask in a city like Kigali where everybody is masking there. So I think we still have a long way to go.
Some countries have started saying that it's not necessary for those that got vaccinated to wear face masks, including Israel, that has so far vaccinated 60% of its residents, and United States of America, that has vaccinated 48% of its population. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, reporting for RTV.
Thank you, Ghislaine, for that report. Now, the number of people that make digital transactions has increased by 550%. In the last fiscal year, it is while telecommunication companies are planning to merge all networks so that the population can do money transfers across the networks directly. As technology continues to grow in Rwanda, so do investors who continue to invest and create jobs based on a variety of services provided. A cross-section of people have embraced technology and now use it for various purposes. The government has been very instrumental in speeding up this cashless operation in the wake of the pandemic, which has led to no money laundering and better service delivery.
Supermarket, restaurant, isoko.
Digital transactions have come a long way since the COVID-19 pandemic was identified in Rwanda, with the number of people transacting digitally having increased by 550%, with an increase in revenue from 12.2 billion Rwanda francs to 79.3 billion in just 42 days of the first lockdown. Business service providers say it is safer and a reliable way, although some people are still operating with cash. We mostly receive clients who use mobile money or the POS machine. We have a few people that pay with cash. The benefits are that you're able to save your money and you receive it at once on your phone or through the machines. And it's also safe. Online consumption also increased from an average of 27.8% in 2019 to 47.4% in 2020, while electronic transaction machines increased by 29% to 3,929 from 3,046. It is while ATM transactions decreased by 15%. A cross-section of Rwandans have launched a new payment method that requires fingerprints to access their bank accounts to confirm payment, and they believe that this is more secure in transacting.
People who come to purchase goods, we are trying to increase convenience and quick in terms of payment. The other thing, the convenience to the merchants, the owners of supermarkets, the owners of different businesses. They will be in control of the product of the payment. They will initiate the payment and it appears on the screen. The client will confirm with his or her own palm, and then the payment is done faster, and also giving the control to the merchants, to the owners of businesses, to avoid and eliminate human error, eliminate losses that they make while they are doing reconciliation in the evening. So this is what we are here to solve.
While digital transactions have solved many problems, there are still obstacles, including a high cost of money transfers, especially bank transfers, network interruptions, and inconsistencies.
There
are instances where you'd find services for MTN but not for Tigo, and vice versa. If they could merge, it would solve a number of issues and improve service delivery without necessarily having to look for different networks every time I need different services. In this regard, however, telecommunication companies find it necessary to connect all lines to make it easier for customers to transfer money. Our customers are able to send money to all networks and even to other countries. So we wonder, if we could send to other countries, why can't we do it in Rwanda? So we've started working on that, and it's a good initiative that we believe will benefit the population. Rura explains that this initiative is progressing and will facilitate proper transfer of funds. In other news, clinical psychologists have noted that victims of incest need special attention because of the grief they live with. Our reporters managed to speak to two of such victims. Both of the young women in this report gave birth to children fathered by their own fathers, and for the sake of privacy, their true identities have been withheld. The first, whom we shall call Diana, was raised by her grandmother after her mother died, and later went to live with her biological father at 16. Now 22 years old, she says she'll never forget how he sexually abused her until she became pregnant as a teenager. I never imagined that he could do such a thing. But he did come home drunk once and came to my room, switched off the lights, turned on the radio at a high volume, and then put his hand over my mouth so that I could not scream. He did not get me pregnant that first time and returned a second time later. Whether he was drunk then or not, I don't know. But it soon became a habit for him, and this is how I became pregnant after sleeping with him 3 times. Her father's reaction when she told him that she was pregnant was that of denial, despite knowing fully well what he had done to her. I told him that I was pregnant, and his first reaction was to ask me who among my classmates had got me pregnant. I told him that he was the only man that I'd ever had sex with, and he plain denied it, saying he was not the father because it was impossible and that I was lying. Though Diana was willing to forgive her father and move on, he was not done with her because he was trying to get rid of the evidence of the crime that he had committed. It was around 6 p.m. when 2 men grabbed me, and I tried screaming, but they made sure I could not during the struggle. I later regained consciousness at the hospital at Sehashka. Diana's child is now 6 years old. The second victim of incest we spoke to, who we shall call Rebecca, and like Diana, she now has a 1-week-old child with her own father, who at 16, she went to live with after he had separated from her mother. I went to him so that he could help me get an identity card, and he raped me during the time I was living with him. He was working as part of a neighborhood patrol unit during the night, and he just came back before dawn and forced himself on me. After getting pregnant, Rebecca went back to live with her mother, and at first neither she nor Diana were willing to speak up about their ordeal. But even after they sought legal assistance in their predicament, things did not go as they had hoped. I went to the police and reported him. Then we went into total lockdown, and I was unable to follow up on the matter. Then he called me, threatening me and saying everything I had done to put him behind bars was for nothing, because they had released him anyway. I want to live without fear, but I'm afraid he may find me and harm me, maybe even kill me. Clinical psychologists have noted that victims of incest need special attention because of the grief they live with. They may become very resentful of their relatives. Try to imagine what it is like having to breastfeed your own brother. Situations like this can completely destroy a person and leave them completely vulnerable. The victims are now getting legal assistance, and there have been calls for tighter laws to ensure that perpetrators are brought to book as a way of discouraging others and other would-be criminals, and that crimes like this of incest be classified as without a statute of limitations. Anyone convicted of sexually abusing a minor faces between 25 years and life in prison, yet such crimes have been on the rise. In 2017, up to 17,337 girls became pregnant in Rwanda, then 19,832 in the following year, 23,628 in 2019, and then the number dipped back down to 19,701. Absolutely heartbreaking news right there. In other news, people in Rwanda's hospitality sector say they have hope for the future because it is now recovering after being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. This was mentioned during the Hotel Star awarding ceremony where 31 hotels awarded 1 to 5 stars. Jocelyn Mugoneza continues.
In the last 5 years, Rwanda has had only one 5-star hotel. There was a rapid growth in hospitality investment, whereby now Rwanda has got 8 5-star hotels, plus 3 hotels that got awarded with 5 stars yesterday. These hotels include one and only Gorilla's Nest, Singita Kwitonda Lodge and Kataza House, and the Retreat and Heaven Boutique Hotel. These are among 31 hotels that were awarded with stars. The assistant director of Altis apartment that was awarded with 3 stars, Ildefonse Shutirabana, has said that awarding stars to hotels has a useful meaning to their performance.
Stars present the high level of services. It means that if we have 3 stars and improve to 4 stars, we are able to receive that person that used to go in the 4 stars hotels. It means that we have to elevate the level we are on and don't return back.
Though COVID-19 affected hospitality industry in Rwanda, investment did not stop, and it gives hope for the future image of this sector.
It's been a month since we started offering good services. But during this season we are in, it is like doors are being reopened. People are going in hotels again. Businesses are being recovered. We also see that these are good seasons of working and putting more efforts in providing good services.
Hotel stars are offered by the Rwanda Development Board basing on East African regional standards. 177 hotels had been provided with stars since the start of this program in Rwanda in 2017. The Chief Executive Officer at RDB, Claire Akamanzi, has urged the investors in this sector to improve service delivery by training the workers.
How can we make sure that we continuously train our staff so that this quality of service is maintained? Sometimes you go to a restaurant or to a hotel and you see 10 waiters or waitresses, and 5 of them will come and ask you what you want to order, but you've already told the first one, and then you tell the second, then the third. By the time the 5th comes, you're like, okay, all of you come here so I can tell you at a go what I want to order, so you don't have to come back. So the resources are there, the people are there, you're paying them a salary, but you're not organizing them, you're not training them. How can we innovate new products, digital adoption? How can we have systems that are more and more digital? How can we have menus that change? You know, in some restaurants you go, you can close your eyes and say here, because you know that menu item has been there for the last 5 years. How do you change the menu, bring interesting new things, new products, so that we also come with you? As customers, we want to come and enjoy new different things, but how can you innovate? Entertainment, and many other things that can actually improve and make it a whole new experience every time we come to you.
The government invested 100 billion Rwandan francs in the Economic Recovery Fund, of which 50% of the money was given to the hospitality industry. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Beata Habyarimana, says that this sector is expected to rapid the country's economy, which is the reason as to why the government is taking care of it.
We have been talking about the Economic Recovery Fund established by the government of Rwanda to support the recovery of businesses hardest hit by the COVID-19 so that they can survive, they can resume operations, and they can safeguard employment. But the tourism and hospitality industry have been prioritized, as it was said, in this framework. From the allocated 100 billion Rwandan francs, 50% was channeled to refinance hotels. This is an indication of the willing and the strong consideration the government is giving to the industry.
In 2019, the hospitality industry earned $500 million In the National Strategy for Transformation, NST1, Rwanda pledged to multiply the interest from tourism sector to $800 million by 2024.
At Rukumberi of Ngoma district, 2,500 of the victims of the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi were given a decent burial on Saturday. People with information as to where the whereabouts of bodies have once again been urged to come forward so that all genocide victims can be buried with respect. Stationary has more.
The bodies were found on the shores of Lake Mugesera in the eastern province of Rwanda after close to a year of digging. Genocide survivors say finding the bodies of their loved ones gives them closure and criticize those who know of the locations of the bodies of victims and yet say nothing. We don't understand how they do not report it, because the bodies were found in areas where people carry out agricultural activities. It breaks our hearts when they remain quiet about such information, but I must commend those who do come forward. It is unfortunate that a person can cultivate a plot of land for 27 years, moving the bodies from one location to another every time they run into them. It's depressing to think of. We are therefore asking people with knowledge of the whereabouts of the bodies of our loved ones to tell us so that we and they can get relief, because it is a heavy burden they carry also. Government officials present urged all Rwandans to continue embracing unity and reconciliation. I want you to also think of the choices we have made, those of unity and building our Rwandan society. That unity is the foundation of everything. You should not tolerate anyone who may seek to destroy that unity, and do not keep quiet about it either. The Rukumberi Genocide Memorial Site is the final resting place of more than 40,000 bodies of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. Genocide survivors are also pushing for the construction of a genocide museum at the site to be completed as soon as possible.